Camera.
Check.
Lights.
Check.
Oops. Sound. No jackhammer upstairs. Check.
Check.
And live streaming.
ACMI. Check.
Whoa. And we are generally multi-skilled, multi-talented people here at Media Mentors. I'm Denise Erickson, and this is Esther Coleman-Hawkins. You can find out more about us on mediamentors.com.au. But we're here today to talk actually genuinely multi-talented people. And you're in the homemade studio, Esther, about to talk to Lara Van Raay from Tasmania.
Thanks, Denise. We hear a lot about videographers. That's the people who can do everything, and I mean everything. They research, produce, write, direct, shoot, edit, everything. And our guest today to teach us about those things is Lara Van Raay, who is from Small World Productions down in Tasmania. Hi, Lara. Can you start off telling me a bit about your career, please?
Yeah, hello from sunny Tasmania. So my career, I've been in the media industry my entire life. I studied video production, media communications, and then immediately went into work for Foxtel. And back in the day when it was just beginning, and I was a creative, doing promo producing and trailers and sales reels and all that sort of stuff, advertising for about 15 years. And then I sort of ran out of having fun with that. It's such a good job. It's so great. I travelled all around the world with that. But then I thought, okay, I actually want to use my skills to create something for myself. So then I bought myself a camera, and then I started shooting documentaries, and I haven't stopped. But I've been also working with the ABC, doing ABC Open, which was a brilliant place for me to expand my skills. And then about 3 years ago, I decided to go out on my own, which I haven't regretted for a second.
Tell me, just start off, what's the best piece of content that you've made? What are you most proud of, or what did you have the most fun doing?
Well, there's a few. So an individual film, I can tell you a few that I'm really proud of, but it's when I first decided to pick up a camera, it's the first film that I ever made, and it's a 40-minute film, and it's called Palestine Beer and Oktoberfest Under Occupation. And it's a 40-minute film which I just grabbed a couple of girlfriends who I used to play softball with, and when I was living in Dubai. And I said, hey, you want to go over to Palestine and we'll go shoot this beer festival? And it was just so easy and so interesting. I was only there for 10 days, so it wasn't a big commitment, and then made this lovely little film. And I'm just so proud that we were able to do that just by ourselves. And it's a sweet little film. It's a sweet film.
That is amazing. Now, tell me where can we see that?
It's online. It did get picked up by a distributor. IndieFlix, but you can also just see it it's got a Facebook page, you can see it there, and it's on Vimeo as well.
Awesome. We all see opportunities to make short form factual content everywhere. There are little stories that we encounter all day, every day. And I think that we all have these ideas of things that we'd like to make, or we see opportunities maybe to make some money by making a short form video. But the question is, and that's what we're going to talk about today, is what skills do I need, what equipment do I need, and how the blooming heck do I do it? So let's start at the very beginning. Idea generation and research. Where do you get your ideas from? And how did you learn how to research them?
Yes. So, as you just said, there are ideas absolutely everywhere you look. And that's why I have really dedicated myself to short form documentary, because there's no other place for them. The broadcasters just don't go for it. And you need a series. No one's going to do a one-off half hour, very rarely. But there are so many stories that deserve to be told, and so that's why especially with new media now, with Facebook, and you can broadcast yourself, and it's a blossoming industry. We only want to have short things now. So that's why I'm really invested in it. And I just told you I was a trailer maker, so my attention span is really short. I'm not very good at sitting on a 1 hour for 7 years, while I'm trying to get funding. I just want to get it done. I want to make it. So where you get ideas, you just spend a lot of time in the community, just seeing what's about. And there's everywhere you look, there's someone doing something interesting, and it's just about developing your skill over time as to whether that's actually a film, if it's visually interesting and the talent is good enough to be on film, if it has the key elements that will make your film good, or if it's probably better as a photo story, or if it's better as an audio story. You have to ask yourself every single time, is this actually a film? Why do I need to tell it in film? And look at all the other ways that you could tell that story. And if it comes down to, yes, it's actually the better way to tell it in film, then you probably have something. But, looking around the news, looking around your local community, looking to see who's doing what. Facebook is excellent for that. The zeitgeist. Yeah. And, talking to your community and ask them who's interesting, who's doing something interesting.
Right. Now, how did you learn about do you personally do research of say you found a really interesting person, you found Bob, and Bob is super interesting, and Bob is baking a new kind of bread. Do you then go away and research where Bob fits into the wider bread world, or whatever it is? Do you kind of do some factual research around your subject?
Yeah, so every single time. I don't know if it would be around the big picture, but yeah, you're definitely asking, looking to see what's been done about them before, seeing where, if they have got other stories about them before, where your story will fit nicely and not cover the same territory. And also just asking around, who are they, what are, because you want to do your sort of when you're doing first person storytelling, you want to do your pre-interview with them in a very casual way, but you also want to do a lot of the questioning around their circle, so you get to know who they are without asking them, because you want to ask them first time fresh when you're in an actual interview situation. So yeah, you try and do as much as you can. But there's also nothing stopping you just going, hey, can I make a film about you? If they say, yeah, turn up tomorrow and go for it. You never know. It depends how much money is on the line.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I've got my person. They've agreed to it. She's a great story. I'm going to go out and shoot her. What kit do I need? And how do I learn how to use it? Are there any online courses I can do? How did you learn?
There's the internet's incredible, as we are working out, as more so. But the basic kit that you need completely depends on who you are and what you want to do. Obviously, you need a camera, and I went for a mid-range camera. So the DSLRs have come out. So if you're comfortable using a DSLR, you can cut a lot of money out of your expenditure. But, they're a bit tricky to use. But there's so many forums about that that can teach you and show you. There's a lot of people sitting in front of their computers bragging about how they know how to use their equipment. So take that. And also, usually, well, for me, because I've been in the media industry my whole life, I have a lot of people who I can just call. And so that's the first thing I'll do. If I have a little look on the internet, can't find there, I'll just call somebody who I know. And so I have people in my address book who have all the skills that are higher than me, and they call me and I call them, and we help each other, So I just I'm going to show you my camera. I just got the Sony body camera, and I just bought a really universal, very excellent lens, which is a zoom lens. It looks very professional. Everybody who sees it goes, "Oh, you're a professional." I'm like, it's just a lens. You just buy them off the internet. But this is a 28 to 135, so I very rarely go off that because I can shoot everything that I need to. It's a very, very versatile lens. And because it has this handle, I don't know if you can see that very well, and it gives you stability when you're just shooting, because that's the problem with these DSLRs. You get a lot of handshake. So I really love this lens because you can really hold on to it and combine that with, and you just whack it on the tripod and go. So there's not much mucking around. And then Sony have been excellent, which is the whole reason I chose this camera, by the way, over a Canon, because I was shooting with Canon for years and years. But they have this on-top mic, which is a Sony XLR input. And so that just goes on the foot, and so that records audio straight into the system. So you're not recording audio separately. And this mic is amazing. You can actually sit 2-3 meters away from someone and still conduct an interview and it's fine, which is just like mind-blowing. But it has these 2 XLR ports. I don't know if you can see that very well. And then you've got full adjustable controls on this side. So in terms of getting the right audio for a DSLR, which is the problem that a lot of DSLRs have, is that you need to do audio syncing, and the audio is rubbish because you've got a lot of handheld, sounds when you're using it. You're recording your lens, you're recording all sorts of stuff with these little guys. So that's why I got that Sony, so I can work around that with this on top mic. That's brilliant. And then I've got you can then go nuts like a lot of people do if they've got a bit of money, but I don't. If I need to do something specifically, I'll hire it. I just have got one other lens, which is a 90mm macro. So if I need to do anything really close, that's really vital. And then you might want to get a wide angle lens, and that is it. And I've got another microphone which I can stick right up to if I'm doing any interviews. I'll put this on a mic stand and it just sits above them or below them. So, and then that trails off to me and my camera with my tripod, and I have one light, and you can do like 2-3 lights, whatever you want to do, just the LED. And if you need to, I've got a lapel as well, but there's a few of us who share equipment, and so you can, because you don't need a lapel all the time, so you just work out what equipment you need for that job and then go get it in. But if you can, I do a lot of sharing of gear, so we'll buy something together, like the things we don't need, like lights, lapels, microphones, things like that. We go into a co-op type of thing with, if you trust the people that you're working with, that is, yeah.
Can I pick this stuff up secondhand, or do I need to buy new?
Yes. Pick it up secondhand. So lights are really good secondhand. If the things that are failing, like the batteries and stuff like that, you can just buy those new. Everything's come down in price so much in terms of the electronics. But there's also cheap lights you can get from China. You want to get, the way you want to spend your money, you want to get a really good tripod. Because if you don't have a good tripod, you can ruin your work, and you won't be able to pan, you won't be able to do any of these things, and you'll think it's you, and it's not. It is actually your tools. It's not one. But the camera and all the lenses, you can just experiment. You pick up anything. You can pick it up from the op shop, whatever. Just have a play. But I personally don't. You can do that, and I know lots of people who do, but I buy everything new in terms of my lenses and my camera, because I really enjoy warranty, and I want to know that I'm the only one that's mucking around with it, and I want to know its history so that I can fix it. Yeah.
Now, in terms of learning how to use all the kit, is there any resource online that you can recommend, or is the best the best way to learn just to do? Are you better just going out and shooting your friends and your family to get so you feel comfortable before you go out and shoot something that you actually want to make? Or are you better taking some courses before you do anything?
A combination. Always with this work that we do in the media, you must go out and experience is everything. It is. There's only so much you can learn theoretically. But I do sit down, and whatever gear I have, I'll go to the manual and I'll read the manual, and I will also Create a Cow is a really good a resource. They seem quite sensible because you can get really lost down into the YouTube ego world of people giving you what they know.
Now, learning how to work with people, direct people, interview them, how did you, were those skills that you picked up making promos for Foxtel, or have you had to really change the way you work now because you make documentaries with real people? I hate using that word, but you know what I mean. Yeah. People who are outside of the media.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very different skill. It's totally different. So there's a lot of talking about how filming works, why we're going to ask you to do things again and again and again. It's very unnatural. Lots and lots and lots of sort of really coaxing and educating before you even start shooting about what the expectations are. Yeah, so that would be the main thing. And the other thing that I'm really, I personally really do is make sure that whoever I'm working with really understands what's actually happening to them, and that they understand that I'm going to take that away, make it into something, and then I'm going to broadcast it. And they don't have any control over that whatsoever. So I make sure that they feel that they understand that and that they're comfortable with me doing that, because that's the thing with documentary work. You're actually taking someone's real life and you're taking their story, and it can have, you've got to have respect for that, and you've got to do it with proper consent.
When I've made shows for the broadcasters, we have large consent forms that we use and we go through them very carefully. What do you do in terms of getting people's consent? What's your process?
So I have the same process with consent. I do a lot of talking about it, making sure that it's fully understood, where it's going, and I also have a form that people need to sign, which is a legal document. And if I'm just on the run and I'm shooting whoever, I have a location consent form as well. I will do it on camera. So I'll actually point the camera at them and record them saying, my name is blah, 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 and I give you permission to use the footage while I'm explaining where it's going, what terms and conditions, da, 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 da. And do you understand that? And we go from there. However, in saying that, I am only me. I'm not backed up by a lawyer. And if anyone asks me to change something or to take something down, I do it, because it is not in my interest to make anyone unhappy. And, I always show the people who I'm making films about, I show them the film before I release it, and I ask them, are they happy with it? And if they want something taken out or changed, I do it. We've had a case recently of someone not happy, their circumstances have changed, and they asked for the film to be removed, but they have signed a consent form. So it's a tricky one, because that's a funded thing, and the funders are saying, well, we want to use it, and she's got a consent form here, so too bad. Whereas us as filmmakers are saying, we respect your right to privacy and we'll take that film away. But yeah, it's a tricky one.
All right, so we've got our content. It looks great. The person consented. Now we've got to edit it. Can you talk to me a little bit about what kit I need for editing, what tools should I use, and how much do I need to know about editing, and how do I learn?
Yeah, so in terms of the tool that you need to do with editing is, I am a big pusher because I mean, you know, when you're starting out or whatever, just use whatever your computer is capable of running at the time. Don't try and use Avid or Resolve on a computer that's 2010. You'll just end in tears. Use the appropriate software. So it's really not about, you know, preferring one over the other. It's using what is good for you at the time. So I use all of them. I use Avid, I use Premiere, I use Final Cut, I use the old one and the 10, I use Resolve. It doesn't matter. I am lucky I've got a couple of setups here. So I have Resolve on one which can handle it. It's newer. And then this one I have Premiere on. So, because it can handle that. Yeah, so, and then it's about just sitting down again if you have the patience with the manual, and if you don't, they all have amazing resources attached to them where they have professionals that are paid to sit down and teach you how to do it. And then it's just about giving it a go. Experience, just do it. There's no quick way. There's no fast way to learn these things. You just have to sit and do it. And there's nothing better to teach yourself than to go out and shoot something and then come back and learn. So that's how to use the tools. How to be a good editor, on the other hand, and understanding the flow and the flow of a story and how it all works, and being, you know, thinking about the jigsaw puzzle that is editors. That's a very specific thing, and you don't learn that, I'm afraid, from a tutorial. You learn that because you're paying attention, and it's something that you've picked up as a skill. And that's why we have editors. But I'm lucky because I really enjoy editing, and I was actually going to be in that field for a long time. And as a promo producer, you're editing all of your own work anyway. So I've been doing it for 20 years. So yeah. But give it a go. There's no other way. Just go. Keep going. Send it out to your friends. Say, what do you think? You know, keep getting better. The other thing I'd say is don't bite off more than you can chew. Go out and, if you're beginning, go out and shoot something that's only 3 minutes long, and then edit only that 3 minutes. Don't go out and shoot an hour and then come back and get completely, you know, confused and want to cry, because editing is what it is fundamentally is a series of making decisions, and we as human beings are not very good at making decisions. So what will happen is you get decision fatigue, and you know, should I do this, should I do that, you know, which way, how does that go, it's like thousands of decisions in just an hour worth of work. So give yourself a break and just start doing that decision making and training yourself into making those decisions just slowly. Don't cry, because editing makes people cry. And it's not because the tool is difficult, it's because of that brain work that you're doing.
That's such a good thing to remind people of. I think the other thing to remember when you're learning the craft of editing or putting a story together is you have to watch how other people have done it and watch documentaries critically.
And it's exactly right. Learn, watch, read, and practice.
Excellent. Well, so I think what would you recommend for people to do today, or what would be their first step if they decided they want to give this a go?
So if you're starting out, it depends. If you're really starting out, there's a lot that you need to learn, and you really need to just start getting in there, using your friends, using your family, using whatever you can just to have a crack at it. Probably leave the working for a client part of it out until you feel really comfortable with your gear, because it's extremely stressful to be out on a paying job and you're not knowing why your camera's doing something or not getting sound, and you're just, you know, staggering around trying to work it out. That's not a good look, and you only have, as we know, your reputation and as good as your last job and all those sort of things. So do all of your learning privately if you can. and do little projects for yourself. And that means, and again, I'm a big believer in using the equipment that you have. You can go buy red if you have the money and go use that. Or you can use your mobile phone if you want to, or you can use your little point and shoot Pentax if you want to. That's absolutely legitimate filmmaking. They all have a different look. It's not about that. It's about then transferring that down, making sure you know how to record good audio. The visual storytelling is exactly the same in all of those tools. And then learning how to put that together into a story. You can do that with anything in front of you. And then if you wanted to, when you get good at that, ramp it up and then invest in some good gear. And make sure you have good audio equipment and you really understand that, because that's a major part of it. And then go out, give it a crack. When I first started, I've been very lucky, but when I first started, I did a lot of quid pro quo. Where I went to artists and I went to people in business and I said, I will make a film about you and you can pay me with your art, or you can pay me with doing some service of whatever it is. So people who are launching, beeswax wraps, and I did their little video and then you get the beeswax wraps in return. So that's a nice thing to do, and it's a little bit of I'll do my thing for you and then we don't exchange money. So that's a good way to learn. Find people who are doing something, help them promote themselves, and then do an exchange like that.
Lara, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and expertise. Where can we see your work? Where do we find you?
So I've got a Facebook page, just Small World Documentaries, which I've just been putting bits and pieces up onto. I haven't built a website yet, but I'm going to use these next little months to do that. But yeah, I've been very fortunate in that I haven't needed to, so I just haven't. But you can see stuff there. I've got a Vimeo account under my name, Lara Van Raay, which has the full body of work.
Fantastic, Lara. I'm sure people are going to love seeing your work. Now, that's it for today. I'm out of here. Thank you to ACMI for all your support. You can find out more, mediamentors.com.au, or join the conversation, #runningfreeskills. And, Lara, we've frozen.
Disappeared. You've gone.